Hi, I'm Michael Morild, and I'm from Triart Nordic, and we are the representative of Triart from Canada. Triart is a paint company that have been producing paint for more than 30 years. They make the most fantastic paint I have ever tried. They have the acrylic segment, they have the oil segment, they have the watercolor segment, and they have all the specialities such as gouache, UV-FX, etc., etc. And in the different segments, they also have different gradings, meaning that you can have a very professional quality down to a student grade. I'm an artist. I'm doing an art form called Neo-Expressionism, and it's a little bit of a wacky style. It looks like a 5-year-old child doing it, but that's something I really enjoy and love doing. I have a cooperation with galleries around the world and selling my art to whoever wants to buy it. But besides that, I'm also a big part of Triart Nordic. I really love different kinds of paint products. I'm what you call a mixed media painter. So I'm using a lot of the traditional heavy body, high viscosity acrylic paint. I use a lot of liquid, and I especially love all the mediums. Now this is a crazy size, but that's because I'm using a lot. All the mediums you can really customize your paint. So if I think this is not liquid enough, I could add a low viscosity polymer and have it even more fluid. So I can do my splashes, I can do runners, etc., etc. If I want to build my high viscosity paint up and make it even more viscosity, I don't know the word, sorry, then I can use what we call the modeling gel. So the medium side of Triart is for me fantastic, and I truly love it because it gives me a lot of opportunities to create my art. The Triart high viscosity paint, which is, as the name is saying, a very thick and creamy acrylic paint. It's, to be honest, the most amazing paint that I have ever painted with. The high viscosity line are in 108 different colors. And what I really love about Triart as an artist, because I'm using a lot of paint, it's that all colors comes in 60 ml tubes. It comes in 250 ml jars. It comes in 500 ml jars. It comes in 1 liters. And it comes in 2.3 liter. I don't have a sample with me here. And then they come in gallon, which is 3.78 liter. And finally, all 108 colors are also in 16 liters buckets. They are not available in Europe, it's by order. The color range in the professional artist acrylic line are in 11 different price groups. All of them basically is from price group 1 till 9, and then we have one price group 11, and that's the liquid mirror. That's a very special metallic color that is so expensive to make. But all the others are in price group 1 to 9. And how to determine a price and put a paint in a different or on some kind of price group, it's all down to the pigment. So if you have a price group 1, a lot of the earth colors are usually in price group 1. it's because there is a lot of earth pigments and they are more available than some of the cadmium and the cobalt and some other pigments, and that's the reason why we have these different price groups. It's not because that a price group 7, for example, is better than a price group 1. It all comes down to the cost of the pigment. This particular quality, the high viscosity, it contains only 5 ingredients. The 100% pure acrylic polymer. You have the pigment. It's made as a pigment dispersion. This is very technical and I don't want to come into that today. And then we have a little bit of water and 2 other stuff that's a company secret. That's Triart's recipe, so we will not know about them. But why is it so awesome to have so few pigment? It's as you can see on the color charts. I don't know if the camera is catching it all well correct, but you can see some colors are transparent, some colors are very opaque. It's not because Triart had added something to make this paint opaque. This is the nature of the pigment. So some pigment are very transparent, some are semi-opaque, and some are opaque. As you can see also, some are very matte, some are satin, and some are very gloss. It's also the nature of the pigment, and that's the reason why you see these different, can we call it, expressions. So this is the purity of the paint. If you noticed this little dot here, this is what we call the undertone of a paint. So for example, I did my my squeeze from my tube, and now the paint is already on the surface, and then I mix with the medium. Here where the paint is right now, it will leave an undertone mark, and the undertone is something that's very, very useful if you want to dig in about the pigment strength and stuff like that, because if you, this is what we call mass tone. This is the paint from the tube, but if you do this, you will see the undertone, and the undertone gives you an identification of how your color, for example, will mix with a white. So the mass tone is a lot darker, and the undertone can in many ways be a completely different color. These are very good examples of mass tone and undertone. So this is a quinacridone red in mass tone. This is the undertone, but that's completely the same color. I just did the same exercise. This is the same exercise than here. Look down here how much you can change nickel azo yellow. It's an earth tone, but now it's become a very bright yellow. This gives you a very good identification of the pigment strength. I would say almost non-acrylic paint has these undertones that bright as Triart. But another very cool thing about it is if I take my nickel azo yellow, mix it with titanium white, I will get that yellow. So that's a good exercise of, you know, playing with undertones. In the Triart acrylic segment, we of course also have all the mediums, professional mediums, and I used to put them in boxes to make it more understandable. So we have a box called grounder. You know, you prep your canvas, and when you prep your canvas, you could be using a gesso. This is a gesso. This is a white tri-art gesso that I just added a few drops of transparent brown in. So I have this warm tone. By adding or grounding your canvas, already primed canvas, with a gesso, it makes it a lot, the colors pops a lot more than on a traditional primed canvas, stretch canvas. But you have the primer, and the gessos comes in white, black, ivory, like a very warm, like this color actually. And you can have it in brown, and you can have it in gray. So if you're a portrait painter, a lot of those, they like to ground their canvas with a brown gesso, for example. Then you also have the dry media ground, and the dry media ground is really, really awesome because I don't know if you can hear it. It's like sandpaper. It's a grounder that I have added. I can add it to my canvas. I can add it on my already some works that I already painted on, but it could be on this guy. I could add my dry media ground. It will dry completely transparent, but then I can use a pastel crayon, I can use charcoal, I can use all these soft materials on top of it, because this works as a sandpaper. But it can also be used as a watercolor ground. So you can actually prime a canvas with dry media ground, and then you can paint with your Schminke Hovedam watercolor. You can paint with whatever, because then the canvas will be absorbent. So this is a really, really awesome ground for prepping your canvas. The next one is the mediums, and in the mediums you have the gel gloss. They also come in matte and semi-gloss. You have a low viscosity gel, you have a self-leveling gel, you have, if you want to make it more thick, you have the modeling gel, matte. I don't have an example on the semi-gloss, and here you have the modeling gel gloss, a fantastic medium if you want to create body. This is, by the way, the gel, the traditional gel. This is the modeling gel. In these samples I have added approximately 30% color and 70% gel. Then you have all the polymers. You have the low viscosity polymer, you have the traditional polymer. You also have a polymer you can add to your color, and then it's a UV activator. So if you add, you have heard of fluorescent colors. So if you have a fluorescent color under black light, it pops. But if you take a boring whatever color and add this UV medium, they will all pop under black light. So now you have 108 colors you can make black light art with. Cool, if you're into that. Then you have the paste, you have the modeling paste. It's also for create texture and make body. You have the fiber paste. What is very important when you hear the name gel and hear the name paste in a medium, the gel will not change the color. So if you take that blue and add to your gel, it will be the base color. But if you take a paste, they will tint the color. So they will change the color. They will work as a titanium white. So if you have this very beautiful ultramarine blue and you add your paste, you will make a baby blue. Very important. Then you have Nepheline gels. This is gels made for creating texture. And Nepheline gels come in different grains. You have the fine, you have a coarse, you have an extra coarse here. And there's a lot of different texture mediums from tri-art. Today we're just showing a little bit of it. We have the liquid glass. That's a very popular medium. Liquid glass is a medium you can use for, this is liquid glass. I have them in gallons because I use a lot. You can use liquid glass for pouring technique. It's the best pouring medium you can buy for money, in my opinion. And for those of you who know and do during paint, know how to do it, so I don't want to go any further on that. But you can also mix the liquid glass with your paint, and then it will make your paint more fluid. It will make it a lot more shiny. And if you are, there's a technique called drip paint, where you basically mix a paint in a bottle. You add your liquid glass and your color, and then you can drip around the painting and create art on that way. The technique is called drip painting. And the final and the most fantastic way of using liquid glass is as a clear coat. There's a lot of artists using art resin, they're using epoxy, etc., etc. And these surfaces are very, very beautiful. These very, very shiny surface. But they are all a two-component product, which means it's a little bit difficult to work with. It's a little bit dangerous to inhale. All your materials will, if you use a brush, you can throw your brush away. And yeah, that's many things. But one of the very cool things with art resin and epoxy is that you can build, you can sculpture in it. That's not a thing you can do with liquid glass. You can put only 0.8 centimeter. That's the maximum height. So this is for flat surfaces only. But I have, this is liquid glass on top of a little painting. This is something I have created in the second layer. I have added a tiny little bit of zinc white, which is a translucent white, but I want to create this cloudy stuff on the painting. But this is really, really cool, and it's water-based. It's not something you have to think about when you inhale, and you can clean all your tools in water. And if you add too much, you can actually add it back in your bottle again. And then there is a final product in the medium range, and that's a medium called opacifying medium. And opacifying, if you take, this is a true color, that's ultramarine blue. As you can see, this is a very transparent color. It's by nature the pigment PB29. That's a very transparent pigment. To make this opaque, you can add your titanium white. But as you can see, now we create two different blues. This is a beautiful blue, but if you want that one, this is not good. Then you have a medium called opacifying medium. So if you add that to your ultramarine blue, this is the result you will have. This is not 100% the same, but it's a lot closer. And the reason why it does look a little bit different, it's the reflection of the light from a transparent color to an opaque color. But this is not something I have seen before, and I find it very useful if I want to create an opaque color out of a color that by nature is transparent. Your acrylic paint, your Triart high viscosity acrylic paint with your medium, and actually have a financial benefit of it. So if you can imagine, we take a scoop of my favorite medium. It's called gel medium. This is a gloss. I like the gloss way it dries. You can also have it in satin call it semi-gloss, you can have it in matte. So it's completely up to the user what they prefer, but I prefer gloss, and that's the reason why I have gloss in my studio. So here we have a pile of medium gloss. This medium have the exact same consistency of the paint itself, so it won't do anything to the paint except extending it. So if we take, this is Permanent Crimson, one of my favorite colors. We just add a little scoop and we take a lot of and here you can see the intensity of the color. The thing is, when you are using mediums, you should always considering that the medium with the paint in a wet consistency is a lot more milkier and lighter when it will dry and all the water will evaporate. So this is not how the result will be when it's done. Here I have a pre-made stuff that I like to show people. This is the pure paint, 100% paint. Here we have 50% paint and 50% gel gloss. No different, but here you have cut the cost of the paint in half, and the medium is not costing the same as the paint. Here we have 25% paint and 75% medium. This mix will be like that when it's dry. Here we have 5% paint and 95% medium. So what you can use the mediums for is, of course, to cut the paint and make it cheaper, but you can also play with your transparency and your intensity and all these things, which is quite awesome when you paint.